Hi, we're going to look at some problems out of your notes. So why don't you pause this video, get on the correct page, and restart it when you're ready. Next class we have a quiz on surface area questions. So today we'll review some of those as well as composite figures, which we've actually had as we've gone along. Those are just when you have two or more figures put together. And I'm going to start by looking at some problems on this page. And then you're going to finish all the problems on the page and check them in before you move on to the next assignment. Well, the first problem that we're going to start with is problem number 2. So we're told that it's a square pyramid. Well, I hope that throughout this you're looking at your formula sheet. Do you have that set off to the side? Maybe you need to pause this video and get that ready. If you're looking at the pyramid part of your formula sheet, it says that the total surface area for a square pyramid is the lateral area plus the area of the base, that funny looking B. Well, instead of LA plus B, why don't I write down what LA is and what B is? The lateral area formula is this, and the bottom is a square, so its area is side squared. I want you to try to figure out what numbers go where in there, which means you're going to pause the video, plug in the numbers, and see if you agree with what I say when you start the video again. All right, so go ahead and pause this. When you plugged in those numbers, did you plug in that the perimeter would be 7 plus 7 plus 7 plus 7, or 4 times 7, and that the lateral area, that the slant height would be 12. Each side is 7, so I have 7 squared, and when I plug all this into my calculator, I get 217. I don't have a unit here, so I'm just going to have the number. I hope you did not write 217 squared, that you just wrote 217. If you need to fix anything, now's a good time to pause it and keep it on the screen so that you can do that. If you're ready to move on, the next problem we're going to look at is problem number 3. In problem number 3, I see this nice looking ice cream cone. And we're still asked, though, for the total surface area. So not the total surface area of these two individual shapes, the total surface area of the ice cream cone. Do you agree that in the ice cream cone, we have this circle showing up, but the circle, it's right here, is not part of the surface. It is inside the ice cream cone. So if we want to figure out what the total surface area is, we're not going to be including that circle. So essentially, I have two parts. I have the cone at the bottom, and I have the ice cream at the top. Well, the names of these are cone and hemisphere. But even though I'm looking for total surface area, I'm just going to use the cone's lateral area, the sides of the cone, not this circle. We don't want this circle. And I'm going to use the lateral area of a hemisphere. Again, I don't want this base. I don't see that. That's not on the surface. That's inside the cone. All right, so look at your formula sheet. See if you can figure out what are the two lateral formulas we're going to care about. Again, one for the cone, one for the hemisphere. And after you have the formulas figured out, restart this video. Are these the formulas you're thinking about using? If you didn't have them, go back and see if you can find where these are on the formula sheet so that you can be using the correct ones on your quiz during the next class. What I'm going to do right now is just replace the letters with the correct numbers. Pi will stay pi, the radius is 3, the slant height is right here on the picture, so here's going to be my cone, and that will simplify into 36 pi. For the hemisphere, I just need to fill in this r, that's 3, so I'm going to take half of 4 times pi times 3 squared, and that's going to give me 18 pi. If I want to know what the area of all of this is together, then I'll put 36 pi and 18 pi together. This one actually has units on it. If you're in a good place with this, then let's move on to the next question. If not, now is a good time to pause it and ask some questions to other people. The next problem I would like to go through is problem number 7. This is considered one of the composite figures. It kind of looks like a mailbox or a barn, but essentially it's made up of, well, what do you think this shape is on the top? Can you see that this is half of a cylinder? And at the bottom, what would that name be? The bottom of this part, as well as all this. You will have questions about the name of a shape on your quiz. Can you tell at the bottom is a prism? Well, let's walk through the green part. So the top is half of a cylinder. It's tilted over, but it's still half of a cylinder. So let's see, I am interested in the sides of the cylinder and the bottom and the top of the cylinder, but I only need half of it. So I'm going to look at the total surface area of a cylinder. Well, here's the formula for lateral area, plus the area of the two bases. Since they're circles, it would be 2 pi r squared, but I'm only going to need half of it. What I would like you to do right now is pause the video and do two things. First of all, make sure you understand why this is the formula we're going to use, and then see how far can you get with putting in the numbers and simplifying down to one combined number just for the green part or just for the half cylinder. When you're ready, start the video up again. Do you have 3 in for the radius? 6 all the way across, so it's only 3 right here. And then after you did that, did you simplify and eventually get 39 pi? If you did, great. Let's keep moving on. If not, pause the video and check your work. See if you can figure out where the mistake was. For those of us moving on, we're ready to look at the prism part. So that yellow part is a prism. Something we need to realize about the prism is how it is standing. Technically, this is the base of the prism. So I'm going to be interested in 5 of the 6 sides of this prism. Can you see that there's a side inside this prism that is not on the surface? So there's different routes you could take to figure out the surface area that we need. What I'm going to do is take the total surface area of a prism, but then I'm going to remove or subtract off this yellow side. Can you find the right place on your formula sheet for the total surface area of a prism and write that formula down? Did you write down this or some part of this? What I'm going to end up doing is taking the total surface area, which is the perimeter of the bottom, times the height, well really that's the lateral area, plus 2 times the area of the bases. And remember, the bases in my picture, one of them is shown in blue. And then maybe you have this other piece, maybe you don't, but eventually I'm going to have to subtract out that yellow piece that's inside the picture. That's not the surface area, that's inside the picture. So now I need to fill in the right numbers. See how far you can get with this. If you get stuck, start it up again, but in the meantime, pause it and see what you can do on your own. Did you put in these numbers? The base is a square, so it's 6 plus 6 plus 6 plus 6 as my perimeter. The height was 10. Plus, I just carried the 2 down, and then the area of the base. Well, since that's a square, it's 6 times 6, or side squared. All right, so what is it that I need to subtract out of here? Well, I need to subtract out this rectangle. This is a 6, and this is a 10. So I need to subtract out 6 by 10. Put that into your calculator and see if you can get it to tell you the answer is 252. And since I'm looking for the total surface area, I'm going to take the area of the prism that I have, add it to the cylinder, and that would be my final answer. Whew, that one is exhausting. All right, so what I would like you to do now is go back and complete the rest of the problems on this page. Maybe since 7 was so exhausting, you want to go back to a little more direct problem like number 1, number 4, before you try a problem like number 6, or maybe you're up for number 6 and you're going to go right to that one. Do the best that you can on this page, and then when you're done with that, you're going to check them in, and that will move you on to the second part of today's assignment. Good luck!